Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast with me, Imperial Dane, and today I have for you a 1 vs 1 on Sturzdorf. Yes, indeed, another fight on this industrial map, this time around representing some small industrial town which has been set up as a German supply depot. Fun stuff, isn't it? And who shall be trying to take this supply depot? It shall be the American forces. 1st Infantry Division under Tommygaga, who we have already seen a few times before, so this should certainly be interesting. He's been facing a lot of good opposing forces, and who shall be fighting him? It shall be Overlord1987 as the 116th Panzer Division reconnaissance Abteilung. And let's get straight to it, shall we? Kettenkraut right here, no Schwimmwagens for Overlord. And meanwhile we can of course quickly edge up this map. We are seeing 3 victory points on a sort of line, although the far one away is of course a bit off the line. We're also seeing most of the higher yield resources are right here in the east. For the most part, a lot of munitions, in fact, and some fuel as well. In fact, the high yield fuel is rather cut off by a strategic point here, so there might be some heavy fighting here. Although then again, this is Sturzdorf, this is actually far away, and this is rather close in between. And again, this is usually when you're in fact going to see most of the fighting. The shortest point between the two bases tends to be the hotspot. Although again, some players do have a tendency of finding other places to fight, but as a general rule of thumb, it seems to be pretty well applicable. And we are seeing a barracks going up, a rifleman coming out, nothing unusual there, and nothing unusual in seeing some Panzergrenadiers getting out there. Gewehr 43 is being equipped as well. The Gewehr 43 being a semi-automatic rifle, unlike the K98K, and so was able to fire a bit faster. It was equipped for reconnaissance units in part to really increase the firepower, since they would usually be fighting a bit more advanced. Then again, it was also equipped to regular units, albeit in lower numbers, and usually it was only 1 per squad, if I am not mistaken. So far, small spread Panzergrenadiers seizing territory here, holding this, perhaps waiting for some Americans to waltz right in. We should of course have to see if Gaga will fall into that trap. Tommy instead looks though to be heading towards the east with his riflemen, where there is only a Kettenkraut to oppose, and generally the Kettenkraut isn't really much for opposing since it is completely unarmed. Further Panzergrenadiers arriving in the west. This one team taking up position behind that old truck. Still no sign of the Amerikaner, as they are still pushing rather heavily to the 2nd Rifleman team out on the field. So far, a lot of Panzergrenadiers, 3 teams, and no building so far. Engineers retreating most hastily, having already lost 1 to the accurate fire of the Panzergrenadiers. And looks like the Panzergrenadiers are now swinging towards the east. In fact, having decided there's nothing going to be happening there, they are instead going to head east and look for some riflemen there. And there we go, finding the first target. Riflemen quickly seeking cover behind some fuel drums. No, apparently they are continuing running away, perhaps hoping to link up with some of their rifleman comrades. But no, the rifleman team number 2 is going for this strategic cutoff point, while the other chaps are holding back all of these Panzergrenadiers, which might end up badly for them, although some of them are able to take up some heavier cover behind some concrete. So that's going to be a bit of help, although some might be slightly more exposed. And there we go, getting out of there. Kettenkraut moving in, moving about, being a real nuisance, that Kettenkraut driver, although he might end up regretting it if he actually gets hit. Further Panzergrenadiers arriving, these riflemen coming under an awful lot of pressure, constantly trying to shift from cover to cover, but the Panzergrenadiers are simply too many. Engineers moving in to take over the capturing job from those riflemen who are now moving in there, but they are going to find themselves woefully outnumbered by the Panzergrenadiers, who are much greater in strength, skill and firepower, while the riflemen are desperately trying to weave about. But still they are not retreating, they are apparently catching the attention of the riflemen and what is the Panzergrenadiers, and no, they are going straight down here, perhaps might be doing some harassment, rather good job there, and looks like the blob will be continuing the hunt, or might it go for the engineers right here? Can't say. It looks like we are seeing a rifleman team out here in the west. Might be able to overpower this Panzergrenadier team. And my goodness, right down there, the rifleman team that's shifted off from the larger battle is going for the fuel point. Is going to harass this. That's a rather nice and nasty maneuver. 4 Panzer Grenadier teams so far for the Panzer Elite commander of the 116th. Nothing highly unusual there, although personally I prefer to get off the Kampfgruppe Kompanie up much earlier. Now 5 teams look like he might be going heavily for the Panzer Grenadiers spam and then going for armored cars. Then again, I do hope I'm wrong. I would like to see something, I don't know, a bit different than just that very rudimentary strategy. Panzer Grenadiers engaging these riflemen. The riflemen here having a rather nice position due to the buildings being able to provide some blocking line, of course. And this is a rather hard area to maneuver in, so whoever has to defend this is generally going to have a bit of a hard time doing it. And I usually hate doing it myself. So riflemen are now getting out of there, forcing these Panzer Grenadiers to return this territory to Panzer Elite Command. One rifleman moving in towards the west. Not really good to blow up his troops twice. This, well, of course, currently Tommygaga has rather gotten the right idea here. You basically ignore the blow options, of course, while it can be very dangerous once it hits, but if you're everywhere where it isn't, it's not going to be able to do a lot of damage because you're basically not there when he wants to strike. And that's sort of the clever bit, and that's sort of also another weakness to the whole blobbing thing. If used properly, you can basically end up avoiding it and thus forcing it to constantly shift from area to area and never really amount to do any greater damage. So that's actually a pretty clever idea. Now we're seeing a supply yard up, so we'll probably be seeing some armored cars soon up from Mr. Tommy, and looks like the 116th is relying on some armored reconnaissance units, getting the Kampfgruppe Kompanie and actually getting a unit from it. Shall it be the infantry half-track or a mortar half-track? Either way would be jolly good. The Panzer Grenadiers though continue hunting down any Americans they can see, but they're not really having much luck with it actually. Looks like we will be seeing a larger clash here. 2 rifleman teams and some engineers with flamethrowers. Riflemen taking up position behind a huge pile of wooden trash. Flamethrowers moving in, but the Panzer Grenadiers are quick to get out of there, not keen on flamethrowers. And the infantry half-track moves into support. MG42 mounted on top with a small gun shield, always nice that. And an engineer is immediately cut down by the machine gun fire. Riflemen charge in right into the Panzer Grenadiers from all sides. Half-track not really in a good position to actually help, but one rifleman team almost down. Retreats, Panzer Grenadiers also retreating. This could easily end up badly for either side. We shall have to see who wins. Riflemen and Panzer Grenadiers continue to retreat, and looks like the Panzer Grenadiers might be the losers of this fight. Rifleman team gaining veterancy 1, increasing accuracy and decreasing accuracy taken. So that's always a nice bit of veterancy there, makes them always a bit more powerful. And we're already seeing an armored car hitting the field very soon. Nothing here from the 116th to actually combat an armored car, although now getting the Panzer Support Command, so he's probably expecting this, having seen no BARs, in which case getting the anti-tank half-track is usually going to be a nice start. Riflemen pushing onwards. Not much luck there. In the east we are seeing some harassment from this Kettenkraut, retaking this territory. Although not looking too good for the Panzer Elite though, either having suffered some rather heavy casualties, and of course Panzer Grenadiers are pretty expensive to reinforce. 2 Gewehr 43 so far, an infantry half-track and a Kettenkraut. Although we'll probably be seeing an anti-tank half-track very soon. And there we go, armored car to the rescue. Armored skirts are first, and a 50 caliber machine gun on the way as well, going to really help with the firepower there. Panzer Grenadiers forced to retreat in the face of this beastly foe. The Greyhound setting upon its prey. 50 caliber machine gun now ready as well, really letting it loose on those Panzer Grenadiers, killing another one, forcing another retreat. It looks like the Panzer Grenadiers are going to avoid this area, instead shifting towards the east, while a large American force marches towards this western area once more to secure it once more for Uncle Sam. Anti-tank half-track probably on the way, although how much longer I can't say. Panzer Grenadiers shifting further towards the east. Looks like we are seeing 2 Kettenkrauts. Oh no, that was the infantry half-track. Apparently is putting a stop to some harassment. And looks like that armored car is going to be heading towards where the Panzer Grenadiers are and telling them to stop it. There we go, opening up. 50 caliber and 37mm gun opening up. And Panzergrenadiers are forced to retreat. Greyhound pushing forwards. Greyhound initially thought to be some sort of tank destroyer, but rather due to that very tiny gun it never really got to be that, and instead worked as an armored car. And BARs equipped at the same time for the riflemen, really increasing the firepower available. Armored car getting out of there, not keen on facing the anti-tank half-track and getting locked down in one spot with a broken engine. Riflemen charging ahead, half-tracks and Panzergrenadiers opening up, probably seeing some focused fire from that anti-tank half-track, not really doing some damage there. Another rifleman down, engineers so able to do quite a bit of damage. Panzergrenadiers forced to run the gauntlet, losing a Panzergrenadier team. That's absolutely horrific. Panzergrenadiers retreating, engineers taking quite some heavy losses, forced to retreat, and looks like the entire American force is now retreating, albeit why I'm not entirely sure. Could have done it, but there we go. Instead opting to get out of there, which is not always a bad thing. Sometimes the key is not to know when to retreat, and looks like this armored car is a bit in a spot of trouble if it gets spotted. Parking up there, but apparently not aware that the half-tracks are moving in. Infantry half-track spots the armored car. Anti-tank half-track knocks it out, immobilizes it and renders it completely immobile, and pretty much begins to fire away at it at its leisure. Most of the Panzergrenadiers are currently in the base reinforcing, getting ready. One team marching about at the front. American riflemen charging in, hoping to save their precious armored car. And looks like a strafing run has been made ready. Hitting these Panzergrenadiers, killing only one, of course. Strafing run has been made less effective against units out on their own, so not able to do much damage there, although these Panzergrenadiers might want to get out there before they are killed. Panzergrenadiers stopping this assault, although the American commander is still short of one armored car, getting another one to replace the first one which was lost. No supply yard.
We're losing a point out there.
Well, no supply yard upgrades, I mean. And Panzergrenadiers are pushing onwards. We are seeing now a mortar half-track as well. Was cautiously expecting perhaps another anti-tank half-track or something else, but no. We are seeing a mortar half-track, and we are seeing Fallschirmjäger joining in, the 116th 6th Fallschirmjäger Regiment joining in the fun, ready to provide some backbone to these Panzergrenadiers. Certainly going to be quite a bit of firepower there. And another Greyhound hits the field and immediately gets upgraded once more. Armored skirts upgrade, pretty much a must for the armored car. And large force of American riflemen charging in. And looks like this mortar could be firing in support with a bit of luck. We shall of course have to see. Riflemen suffering light casualties as they are charging in towards the Panzergrenadiers. And the mortar, there we go, nice shot in right the middle of everything, only suppressing one team, not doing anything besides that. And there we go, killing 3 riflemen, jolly good there. And Fallschirmjäger with FG-42s trying to hold back the armored car, but rather realizing they do not have the firepower to do so. And looks like some Panzergrenadiers are fighting off these riflemen. Looks like the Panzergrenadiers will be losing this fight as they are facing Veterans 1 riflemen with BARs, and riflemen are retreating at the same time. Rather interesting. And let's go shift over to Overlord and his 116th now with the support of the Fallschirmjäger and Luftwaffe doctrine. And we are seeing the Panzer Support Command getting an upgrade, but really this is already a slightly different Panzer Elite commander. He hasn't gone for armored cars, he's in fact using quite a bit of half-track, so that's rather interesting. We'll of course have to see how long this will go on. Infantry half-track in need of repairs, but so it is Kettenkrad, and the Kettenkrad is faster to repair. And looks like the Americans are currently holding the front line, albeit a lot of troops are back for reinforcements, and we are seeing a triage center as well, providing healing for 3 after it has been built. Rather good building that. And in the east we are seeing the Americans pushing forwards there. No mines up from Mr. Gaga, that could actually be quite powerful. Kettenkrad moving onwards, cloaked. Oh, we are in fact seeing a mine from Tommygaga, my apologies. And this Kettenkrad looks like it will be spotting it, there we go, and there we go, apparently it gets spotted by the mine as well. Not entirely sure what happened there. But mortar half-track perhaps splitting up to bombard this mine. Would certainly not be a bad move. And looks like the Fallschirmjäger are using the infantry half-track, getting ready with the FG-42s. That's going to be a rather nasty drive-by there. Mine detonated by mortar rounds, and looks like we are seeing a large American force setting up in the east. All these riflemen on the line, ready for some major assault. How shall it go? I cannot say. And the armored car is also ready nearby. We'll of course be watching how these two forces shall be clashing. And my goodness, we aren't seeing a Panzer IV, but we are instead seeing Hotchkiss light tanks. That's also a bit of an interesting rarity. And Panzergrenadiers setting up in some of these barracks and administrative buildings. Rather interesting. Can be used to in fact spot for you. And yes, indeed, he's in fact just seeing these riflemen at the edge of things. Of course, alerting him to what's going on there. And riflemen are charging in numbers. Half-tracks are moving in to support. Although this mortar half-track seems to be pointing in the wrong direction, my good sir. And looks like the riflemen are moving behind the train, taking cover from all of these Panzergrenadiers. And there we go, half-track opening up with its FG-42 load. Blasting away, and riflemen once more moving away, though not entirely sure where they are to attack, it seems. Mortar opening up as well. And the first Hotchkiss is on the field and immediately gets upgraded. Not apparently he wants to use it to fight the armored car, perhaps, since that's where it's best. The upgrade doesn't really make them that much better against infantry. In fact, it decreases their efficiency a bit, since they don't gain any splash damage actually from that upgrade. But still, riflemen charging in force. Infantry half-track is not there to support. Armored car moving in for a flanking maneuver from the north. Hotchkiss tanks moving in, opening up on these riflemen. Not hitting anything, it seems, and grenades equipped for the riflemen blasting away. Infantry half-track moving in, armored car moving in from the north, but Hotchkiss tanks move in to deal with it. There we go, first shot penetrates, second does as well, and the M8 is taking quite a lot of damage. Armored car gunner killed. Anti-tank half-track, no, that was the mortar half-track that was lost. The anti-tank half-track, though, is probably going to be lost as well very soon. American riflemen taking quite heavy losses on the retreat. BAR dropped, could be a nice target for those Panzergrenadiers to pick up. And Hotchkiss tanks moving in to do quite a bit of damage on the retreating riflemen. Infantry half-track doing it as well, and riflemen are getting torn apart on the retreat. And the Hotchkiss tanks not really doing a lot of kills though so far, but they are moving into the base. And another Fallschirmjäger team arrives on the field, it seems. Not entirely sure why he decided to drop in right next to the enemy machine gun. That tends to be a very bad idea, if I might add. But apparently I'd hoped perhaps to land it somewhere else nearby. I can't say. Although still perhaps not the best move there. Opening up on the machine gun emplacement there with the Hotchkiss light tanks. Fallschirmjäger are still getting suppressed, and this anti-infantry half-track really needs to get out of there before it's torn apart. Fallschirmjäger opening up in support, but this infantry half-track will probably not make it. Oh dear, damaged engine out of control. That was rather a foolhardy move. Machine gun though cleared out. Fallschirmjäger doing the best they can to hold the line while the Hotchkiss tanks elope. One Fallschirmjäger team retreating, and all of the riflemen are taking quite a bit of losses and getting suppressed. Hotchkiss tank taking fire from the anti-tank gun. Very good job there getting an anti-tank gun. But the Hotchkiss tanks escape, and we are seeing engineers doing a bit of harassment behind the enemy lines. BAR though is not picked up by those Panzergrenadiers. That was really, I'd recommend getting that BAR to really increase the firepower. And there we go, engineers getting torn apart on the retreat by those nasty Hotchkiss light tanks, and these engineers are just allowed to take that munitions point. There we go, Hotchkiss tank moving in to put a stop to that tomfoolery. There are tiny French guns blasting away at the engineers, and the engineers retreating. Anti-tank gun moving forwards with support from riflemen. Good job there, not sending it in unsupported, not sending it in front, but instead behind the riflemen. That's how you want to do it. so it doesn't get suddenly caught by enemy infantry and torn apart. Fallschirmjäger and Panzergrenadiers ready in large numbers to move in once more, and Luftwaffe field infantry arriving as well, probably to do some repairs on those Hotchkiss tanks. And what is this? Tommygaga going straight for the tank depot, and let's go for a slight delayed mid-game analysis. In fact, the situation is for the 116th looking a bit ill. They have in fact lost most of their territory. Yes, they were able to rather do some damage there, but they were not able to capitalize on the fact that the American army was beyond and in their base. Instead, he focused too heavily on trying to deliver some sort of striking base rush blow, which clearly didn't work out for him since he was using only half-tracks and light tanks. Better would have been to actually just try to seize as much territory and gain the resources for that. Sadly, that was not the case. He of course will need to gain a lot of territory, and he will need to keep up the pressure on the Americans. But what he needs to avoid is trying to stop rushing the base. He won't get anything from that with the resources he currently has under his command. For the American, well, he currently has most of the territory, and he basically just needs to keep up the pressure. He needs to keep attacking from all sides, which he's actually doing a pretty good job at. He also needs to keep that anti-tank gun safe, though otherwise those Hotchkiss tanks might do the trick. Then again, he is getting a tank depot, so we might be seeing some Sherman tanks, which is certainly going to prove to be a huge problem for the 116th, seeing as currently they only have Hotchkiss tanks, and even upgraded, the amount of damage they can do to a Sherman tank is going to be pretty limited. Anyhow, returning to the fight, the Americans again currently holding most of the territory, keeping the Panzer Elite 116 forces tightly closed in a small territory. Looks like we are going to see a large counter force moving in. Fallschirmjägers, Panzergrenadiers, all the good stuff. Of course, question is, how will it go? And they might be caught by a strafing run if they do not spread out a bit more. Fallschirmjägers setting up for the south, Panzergrenadiers for the north, and riflemen charging in. Veterancy 2, although taking a few losses now. And there we go, strafing run, catching all of these Fallschirmjägers. That was a bit unfortunate. Riflemen retreating, and Hotchkiss tanks are ready to move out, although these anti-tank gun needs to be cleared out. And what are these Panzergrenadiers doing? They're not joining in the fight, instead joining in a bit of harassment. Not entirely sure that's what they want to do. And a Kettenkrauts immediately begins hitting the eastern areas, beginning to reclaim some territory. American riflemen pushing at all fronts, and these Panzergrenadiers who decide to spread out are now easy targets because they did not join in the main fight, which was rather problematic and foolishly done here. And now it looks like one team is already forced to retreat, leaving behind only another team, and I doubt they will be able to make it. And it looks like we are seeing an observation post with a lot of munitions there. Good job there. Probably going to work into all of this strafing run business. Hotchkiss tanks moving in. No offensive veterancy as of yet to really increase them killing infantry. Both now are upgraded, so they aren't going to be that great against infantry, although they will be able to deal somewhat with a Sherman tank. Albeit I wouldn't actually again recommend head-to-head fight, but perhaps a bit of more dodging about, weaving in and out and trying to hit the rear, and basically being a nuisance. Hotchkiss tanks taking on these riflemen. The riflemen of course are not getting hit. One though gets killed. There we go. And a Sherman tank has arrived on the field. M for Sherman. Another strafing run, doing quite a bit of damage to the Panzergrenadiers and Fallschirmjägers. Rifleman team the forced retreat, and this anti-tank gun is rather out on its own. Fallschirmjägers being called in behind it, doing quite a bit of damage. Could knock it out. And there we go. Anti-tank gun cleared out, but the Sherman is there first, and the Fallschirmjägers will not have the chance to recruit this anti-tank gun and turn it against the Sherman, which could actually be quite of help. But this light anti-tank half-track might be able to knock out the tracks, and then perhaps these two Hotchkiss tanks could do a bit of light damage. But what Mr. Overlord really needs now is some serious anti-tank assets. Marder, Fries, Panzer Schrecks, whatever, but something is needed. And my goodness, we're also going to see an M10 tank destroyer as well. Really going for the heavy armor now, and this is going to prove rather disastrous for Overlord, who is not really prepared for that. With no Panzer Schrecks, Marders, or even a Flak 88 to provide some heavy fire support. Pushing hard in the east though, which is good, but otherwise not much luck. And currently he seems awfully too passive. He really should be trying to use his infantry for more. Perhaps try to do a bit of harassment over here, instead of just sitting about in his base and letting the Americans take the territory. Anti-tank and immediately recruit. This is rather unfortunate for the Overlord commander, of course. Captain Tommy will of course be quite happy to have the anti-tank gun return to his arsenal. Panzerjäger commander is up, so we'll probably be seeing some actual Panzerjägers, the Marder 3, very soon. I doubt he's going to be going for armored cars by now. The M4 Sherman would simply tear that apart in seconds. And an M10 moving towards the east, with support from infantry and engineers.
Ground out there.
Fallschirmjägers though moving in, clearing up these engineers right in the center. FG-42s blasting away. And looks like this Kettenkrad is forced to go into cloaking mode. And my goodness, what is he doing? He's moving in the anti-tank half-track, opening up on this M10, immobilizing it. Oh dear, just by looking at the minimap, he was sending in his Hotchkiss tank to try and deal with that. But engineers are quick to repair the M10, and Hotchkiss tanks are in fact moving in, but it might be too late. Oh dear. Getting sticky bombed. Why did he move it so close? And damaged engine. And now the M10 is ready to move in for the kill. This is absolutely horrific. Main gun destroyed on the lead Hotchkiss. Oh dear, I doubt that Hotchkiss will survive much longer. And there we go, Hotchkiss lost. Second one getting sticky bombed. Fallschirmjägers moving in to try and help, but it is simply too late. Anti-tank half-tank, and now the second Hotchkiss as well. Oh dear, that was an absolutely horrific engagement. And simply a poor move there, not probably supporting his Hotchkiss tanks. And the Fallschirmjägers are forced to retreat as these M4 Sherman barges in with no remorse, opening up with high explosive shells. Things are certainly not looking good for Mr. Overlord. Let us have a return to him briefly. Marders on the way. No, that is simply the upgrade. He can't even get them yet. And now going towards perhaps what could be the false Flak 88, but again he doesn't have the command points for it quite yet. And there we go, Jaeger command upgrade is ready. Marder 3s will be soon be there. But the M4 Sherman is there as well. Right before it, Luftwaffe troops taking quite a bit of fire, and are immediately forced to retreat. Panzergrenadiers marching in, and this is not really looking good. 2 Marders on the way, but I fear this might be too little too late. Really penned into a very small amount of territory now. Oh dearie dear. M4 Sherman moving in, crashing through the trees. And the Panzergrenadiers are getting torn apart. Veterans 1 increasing the speed of the Sherman. And these Panzergrenadiers trying to hold out behind a wrecked truck, but they are simply outgunned. Or then again, seemingly having quite a bit of luck killing these Veterans 2 riflemen. Jolly good job there, but I think the Sherman will be putting a stop to that very soon. And looks like all of the Fallschirmjägers forces are focusing in the east, hoping to push through there. FG-42s for pretty much everyone, well except for these chaps. Apparently they did not earn it. First Marder 3 hitting the field. Riflemen charging in, getting fired upon by some Fallschirmjägers. Looks like the Fallschirmjägers though hit a mine, killing one and suppressing the rest. Grenades being dropped at the Fallschirmjägers, but expertly dodging there, although killing one. And now the riflemen are forced to retreat, and the M10 moves in. Why on earth would he move the M10 in? It's not really the sort of thing you want to use to kill infantry. The Sherman would be better, in particular since now he has 2 M4 Shermans and one has been upgraded with a 50 caliber machine gun. Second Marder 3 is ready. And looks like these Fallschirmjägers got squished beneath the treads of the M10. And this victory point has fallen into the hands of 116th, but that seems to be the only victory at the moment. The M10 crashes through once more, squishing all of the Fallschirmjägers beneath its mighty treads. Probably not what the designers had in mind when they created this. But then again, a bit of improvisation is always nice. Marder 3s now. Why is he using all of his Marder 3s in one side? Although they could knock out that M10, it will expose the rest of his army to those M4 Shermans. And Luftwaffe troops doing their best, but they are getting torn apart. M10 out of control and into this concrete wall. M4 Shermans moving about. Seems to be about it though for the moment. And Riflemen going for some of the last points of the 116th. Rather now they are pressured into the base, unable to move beyond it. And apparently dropping butterfly bombs right there. Panzergrenadiers charging in. Marder Freeze being maneuvered into support. My goodness. And grenades dropped on this horde of Panzergrenadiers, but it misses. M4 Shermans though moving up, but the M3 Marders move in. The Marder Freeze. And the M4 Shermans realize the threat of this and immediately begin pulling back at the side of this. And the Marders don't really seem to have much luck hitting anything at all. There we go. But not penetrating, that's rather damned poor luck. And there we go, 2 shots, but the M150mm anti-tank gun moves in. Shermans though continuing to take hit, but so are the Marders, and they are not built to take damage from anti-tank guns. Fallschirmjägers getting strafed, and my goodness, killing quite a few, pinning the rest. That was rather unfortunate there. You don't want to blow up your troops when you are dealing with strafing runs, so rather good choice there from Tommygaga to simply use the strafing run there. It is in fact returned to him. Things are looking absolutely desperate for the 116th grenade going in. Panzergrenadiers forced to retreat. Marder Freeze on absolute poor condition, having taken quite a bit of damage. Fallschirmjägers, Luftwaffe troops, and another motley collection of troops doing their best to reinforce and get back into the fight, but things are not looking good for the 116th. Panzergrenadiers forced to run a gauntlet. Veteran C2 riflemen getting more and numerous. And now we are seeing a mortar team as well. And both supply yard upgrades. That's probably going to have made quite a difference for Mr. Tommy as well. Really a good thing to get. Increases the rate of veterancy and of course decreases manpower upkeep. So a brilliant upgrade to get. Question is of course when to time it properly. And yes, we are seeing Fallschirmjägers getting ready to march out. And once more presenting themselves as a rather nasty target for a strafing run. Marder Freeze also getting ready to move in. And Fallschirmjägers hiding here in a shell crater, protecting the only victory point in the hands of the 116th. Fallschirmjägers charging in, coming under heavy fire though. Marder Free taking a direct hit from the Sherman. Fallschirmjägers marching in, and there we go, another strafing run. Oh dear, where shall it hit? And once more the Fallschirmjägers are a target for it. One team is lost. And looks like another one might not make it out of there. Marder 3 is lost. The second one keeps firing in the light of its fallen comrade. And boring strafe spam. I'm not entirely sure that's the key, since he did rather rarely use it, but he used it quite well. I think the key is more that he was using boring, blowing up his troops and not spreading them out properly tactics. So there you go. And what can we learn from this rather different fight in terms of Panzer Elite and American gameplay? What is the lesson of today? Well, for the starters, don't give up. If your opponent is, for example, blobbing up, then sometimes the key is simply to try and avoid the blob. Be everywhere else. Don't focus up your forces. Instead, spread them out and begin taking territory, and of course retreat until you can actually fight it in a proper manner. If you're Americans, of course, strafing runs are pretty good at dealing with Panzer Elite blobs. Armored cars can also be pretty nice. And the trouble here for the Panzer Elite commander, there was of course partly he blocked. He did use some half-track, and that was rather where he excelled, but then he rather decided to make some rather poor decisions, including one which was to make a base assault rather than trying to take back all the enemy territory. And that rather bit him in the arse. His Hotchkiss were alright, but he seemed to just upgrade them, but not really considering the effects that upgrading the Hotchkisses makes them less effective against infantry. And I'd rather waited with that, for example, until I got some offensive veterancy, which would decrease that sort of penalty by, of course, giving them of accuracy bonuses. But good job here from Tommygaga. He dodged the blobs, he rather punished them later on, and the M4 Shermans were quite a nice move, for which the German commander was not probably prepared, and for which he paid the price. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dane saying, spread out your troops. Cheers.